So good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session on mastering your Outlook calendar. So I'll just share my screen with you all so you can see my presentation. Okay, feel free as you go through, feel free to jump off mute because there's not that many of us, I think, in the session. There's about 10 of us in the session. Or if you want to, please just raise your hand or pop a message in the chat and whatever you feel more comfortable doing. You know, if you've got any questions, I'm quite happy to sort of stop throughout. Okay, the way that this session is going to, I have a presentation and basically, actually, I just realised I need to, oh no, don't, it's fine. It's okay, sorry. I just thought I needed to reshare my screen because I hadn't got my sound on, but I don't need my sound for this anyway. So the way this is going to work is I've basically recorded lots of demos on my PowerPoint because, as you can imagine, live demoing your Outlook calendar on an event is probably not the best idea for various reasons, not so which obviously you can maybe end up sharing things that you shouldn't be sharing. So this is how this is going to work. So hello to everybody that's joined the session. If I don't know you, my name is Heather. I'm the learning technologist. I work at Grimsby Institute, and I've also obviously previously supported Scarborough, Skegness and everyone, and basically the whole of the tech partnership. Okay, so so that's kind of my job. I've been doing it for 2 years. I'm a Microsoft Office Specialist Master, which sounds a bit fancy, but basically it means I've passed a few of the Microsoft Office exams that we do at the college, and one of the ones that I passed is the Outlook exam. It's a really good exam. So if anybody does use your calendar like very, very frequently in your day, like it's a major part of your job, I really would recommend you have a look at that exam. It's something that we offer at Grimsby. Not too sure about Scarborough, I need to check, but they're definitely at Grimsby because I don't know what the site license is at Scarborough, but yeah, definitely at Grimsby. So anyway, I will continue. So our agenda for today, for this session, is to say it's only a short session. I just want to go through a few of the features of the calendar that you may not have used before. I'm going to be demoing this in the Outlook 2016 application. Basically what this means is I'm going to be demoing this in the full version of the desktop application, which is what you get if you go to your start menu and you type in Outlook and it comes up. So this isn't the version that you get from if you just sign into your emails on your Office 365. Mainly I've done this in the full version of the app because I do genuinely believe if you are using your calendar regularly, the full app offers a lot more of the functionality than if you're just signing in on your normal email and if you're Office 365. So we're going to look at calendar options. We're going to look at how you share a calendar. Okay, so if you're somebody that works in a team and you need to sort of see people's availability, how you would share that with them. How do you apply to emails using a meeting? Looking at creating Teams meetings using the calendar, and also looking at things like meeting settings, so how to set up regular meetings, but not just regular meetings, how you can set up your diary. So if you wanted to sort of a regular time slot, you could set that up. Also going to look at schedule assistant, something that is so important if you're arranging meetings for other people or you're arranging meetings with other people. You'll see why that is absolutely essential, and also responding to a meeting request. So some of these you may already know, but hopefully some of these things will be new to you and will be really super useful. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the calendar options and the view of the calendar. Okay, so this is the calendar, as you can see. Okay, this doesn't have any sound. If you go to the bottom of the app, you'll see the navigation. So you can see you can get to your calendar by clicking on the navigation pane at the bottom. Okay, and this is what you get when you go into your calendar. You see, there's nothing on this because I didn't want anything too personal. This is just my calendar. So if you wanted to actually set up your view of your calendar, you can change this view by going to File, and then when you click on File, you can go to the options at the bottom. Okay, so this is in the full application. Okay, so you can see these are the options. Now, a lot of people don't normally use these, but they're really useful. So you can actually set up your calendar so you can view your working week in the way that you want to view it. Okay, so if you're only working, say, 3 days a week, you can actually set your calendar so you know you can view those days. Or you can also set up your sort of meeting options down there as well. And if you just go further down, when it's going to go further down in a second, there's a few more options for you as well. Okay, so you can actually change the colour of your appointments on here. You can change things like the layout. You can also change things like, if you look there, there's also different options for different calendars, as well. So yeah, this is just a way that you can set up your calendar, through the application. There's also sort of really sort of advanced settings as well, things like time zones and automatically accept meeting requests, etc. And also you can also set the weather on there. So so that's going to File and then going into the options and then clicking on the calendar. Okay, so that's how you can change the view of your calendar. Okay, so now if you notice as well, hang on, there we go. Yeah, so if you notice as well, this is how you sort of set up. So if you go to the View tab at the top, okay, you can actually change the view. So I can see sort of different, I can see sort of previews for things, as you can see. Okay, so just go. So if you just go, so yeah, if you go up to the view at the top, you can actually change the view. Okay, and so you can see sort of how it looks differently. Okay, so I'll just move on. You can also, if I just point this out, you've also got the option for different things, like you can add in your to-do bars and things as well. Okay, so sharing calendars. Okay, so let me just go for. Okay, so if you want to share your calendar, really straightforward. You've got the option to share the calendar. Okay, at the top. So if you go to the top, you can add a calendar, or you can just share the calendar. Now it's worth noting, okay, right, so it's just worth noting before we go, obviously you can search through the address book of the institution. I don't know if have we got anybody online that's external? If you could just shout at me. So otherwise, I think most of the people on here we're all internal, aren't we? Anyone? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so you can add a calendar from the address books, and this is basically what this is, like the global directory, okay, of people. So it's quite easy to add somebody from an email address. Okay, and you can also open a shared calendar. Okay, so if you wanted to add a calendar, you can do that from the address book. So you can just search for somebody here. As you can see, just so that you know, Stanley is a fake student. Okay, don't worry, I'm not sort of sharing student details here, but you can just search for the person and you can click OK. There we go. And what will happen is that you can see that person's calendar on here, as you can see. Okay, so this is really important if you need to arrange meetings for somebody else, or if you're managing somebody else's calendar. Okay, if you're a manager or a PA. So this is how you would how you would access their calendar. So if you wanted to share your calendar, you can just do so again by clicking on the calendar here. And again, I can actually, this is who the people are that I've actually shared my calendar with. And again, I can add somebody, so I can add somebody from there. And again, I can select what kind of access that they have. So then basically they will get an invitation to say that you have shared your calendar with them. Okay, so that's how you obviously how you can see other people's calendars and how you can share your own calendar with somebody else. You might need to do this if obviously you need to share things with your manager or with your team. Just for an example, like for example, obviously I share my calendar with Elaine, and Elaine shares her calendar with me, and it's really important because basically we can see when each other's free if we need to cover anything. So it's quite a useful thing. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so reply with a meeting. This is just a little thing, just a little tip. When you've got an email, you can actually reply with a meeting. So if you go to this little option here, okay, so you can see where it says respond, you can actually reply with a meeting, and what that'll do is that will create a meeting for you. Okay, so for example, if you've got your emails open, what you can actually do is just click on that, and that will open up a new meeting for you to reply with. Really important if you've got an email saying, "Oh, can you just set this up?" And you just reply with meeting, and it's done. Okay, as you can see here as well, if you've got you've just got your email open here. If you use the little dots, again, you've got reply with meeting on the little dots as well. Okay. Okay. So creating a Teams meeting. Okay, this is creating a Teams meeting from the Outlook calendar. Okay, so you've got a couple of options here. I can just go to the top and I can click on New Teams Meeting in the app. Okay, and I can open that up, and that will automatically, when I create that, that will automatically create a Teams meeting link for me. Okay, so that will automatically create a Teams meeting link for me. The other option is if you set up a meeting, you can just select the Teams meeting icon in the actual meeting that you're setting up. There we go. And it's worth noting as well, I just wanted to say that this link here, this Join Teams meeting, basically you can use this, you can copy and paste this into other emails. Okay, so what you can actually do with externals, if you're actually you actually need to send a Teams meeting link to an external person, or or maybe you might have multiple people that you need to send them to. The best thing to do is to copy this link, paste it into just a normal email, and then basically you can BCC those people in, and then you're not breaking GDPR, because basically all you're sending them is a link. Okay, and that meeting link will work as it would if you're sending them a Teams meeting request. Okay, so that's just how you can get around sort of sending through emails to people if you just need to BCC them, because it's really difficult when you do it through Teams and to do it that way. Okay, so that's how you can get around it. Okay, I think this was everything on this sort of little demonstration. Yeah, I was just so I was just saying, you could just copy that and then paste that into a new email if you wanted to. Yeah, so for example, if I just wanted to create a new email, I could do that, and then I just paste that link in. Okay, so again, you can do that if you need to BCC anyone in. Okay, so meeting settings, recurrences and categories. Okay, this is really important for when you want to organize your calendar. Now, I don't know about you guys, I absolutely live on my Outlook calendar. So my entire life is organized by my Outlook calendar. Obviously, probably not quite the same if you're teaching, because obviously your timetable, but if you are somebody in a position where you are just constantly arranging meetings and you're just meeting with people, or you're arranging meetings with other people, recurrences and categories is quite a useful thing. Okay, so to create a there we go. So to create a recurring appointment or a recurring meeting, as you can see this on here at the top, so as you can see, I've got a recurring appointment. Okay, so we have a session that we set up with Stack. It's at 9 o'clock. It's been at 9 o'clock sort of every day, and it's just like a little online meeting that we set up in the Stack training channel. It's called Online Tips and Tricks, and basically I set this up so that it was recurring every day. Now what that means is that I can then support or deliver in those sessions every day, because then I don't put any appointments in there. Okay. So if I wanted to open that up, I can open up the entire series, or I can just open up a particular occurrence. And as you can see, it occurs every weekday. Now, as you can see at the top, when you set up an appointment or a meeting, you've got these options for occurrences at the top here. Okay. You've also got the option to show things as, you know, if you show yourself as busy, or you can show yourself out of office. So let me just set up a new one. Okay, so this is just going to show you how to set up a new one. So I'm going to set up a new appointment. And it comes up. There we go. So I think I'm going to put what I want in. So lunch. So again, it's really important to, if you organise in your calendar, to set the time aside when you're not available. Okay, if I wanted to set a reoccurrence, I just click reoccurrence, so I can make reoccurring. I've got those options there. Okay, and I've got my start time, I've got my end time, and I can select my option. So I say if I wanted it daily, or if I just wanted it on a weekday, so I can set that every weekday. I can set my start date, okay, and I can set my start time. So if you've got a meeting with somebody, say for every 2 weeks, but you know that that's gonna finish, say, in a couple of months' time, you can set a finish time for that, but it just means you've blocked out your calendar for that time. Okay. Okay. So I've set my recurrence, and I can edit my occurrence, so I can remove it as well. So that's, you know, you can get rid of it if you need to. There we go. So if I now save and close that, as you can see, that's now created a recurring meeting. Okay, so why would I create a meeting for lunch? Well, if you are, again, somebody that you know, uses your calendar a lot, it's important to block out your breaks, and it's important to block out the times when you're not available, because, you know, I know that personally in my job, I have like a lot of additional things that I have to do. I have admin and things like that. But, you know, if I don't actually be strict with myself and say I'm going to block out like an hour to say mark level ups, or I'm going to block out an hour to mark canvas level ups, those appointments can very easily be taken over with that time can be taken over with things like appointments and things. So, you know, if you're in an extremely busy job, sometimes you've got to be strict and say, you know what, actually, that's my time that I need to spend on that particular task. Otherwise, it doesn't get done. I'm not, you know, and it's the same with your breaks as well. You know, it's important to make sure that, you know, you put in your lunches and things on your calendar. Otherwise, you know, if you're somebody that, you know, gets booked up and things quite easily, it's, you know, you've got to think about your well-being. Okay, so that's how you set up your appointments and your occurrences and things. Okay, so I think I've also mentioned about categories. Have I mentioned about categories? Does this talk about categories? There we go. Oh yeah, so yeah, you can also set a reminder. So this was it. So if you go to the top here, look, you can actually set a reminder for the meeting. Okay, so there we go. So for example, if I wanted to set up a meeting and I know I've got to prepare something for it, I might want to set a reminder up to remind myself that that's happening. Okay, what I would say is don't use your Outlook calendar for just to remind yourself to do stuff or tasks. Okay, I'd only use your Outlook calendar if like you want to, say for example, you've got to do something and you need to put some time in your calendar to do that. Obviously you can do that, but every time obviously you put something in your calendar, unless you specifically set that thing as, you know, being your free, obviously that looks like, you know, that time is taken up. So you can't, you know, people will look at that calendar and say, oh, I can't book because that person's free, but it might just be that you've put, oh, you know, remind myself to do this. Okay, you know, it's best to use things like the to-do app and things like that, which I'll talk to you about later on if you come into the session. Okay, so you can set yourself a reminder. Okay, and oh, I've just gone back a little bit. And you can also, if you look at the tags as well, that's how you set up things as important, and also how you set up, you know, you can actually set up categories, which is basically you can just kind of, you know, for example, if you have, say you have the same meeting with the same person, and you know you want to make sure that meeting's a certain colour. Okay, you can do that using the category, okay, options. Okay, just going to move on. Oh, hang on. Just going to move on because I think we're just sort of make sure we've got enough time to do everything. So scheduling assistant, I'll just there we go. Scheduling assistant. So scheduling assistant basically means you can find out when other people are free. If anybody's on this call, I'd just like to say, please have a go at this. It's so useful. It's so useful for me personally, because when sometimes people ask me for appointment, I'm like, oh, can I just have an appointment? You basically, if you use a scheduling assistant, you're essentially saving yourself like 2 or 3 emails back and forth saying, oh, you know, when are you free? Oh, I'm free at this time. Oh, I'm not free at this time. And it's just, as you can imagine, a nightmare. So if you can use the scheduling assistant, it really does make so much difference for both parties, really, because you're just saving so much time. Okay, so scheduling assistant. Okay, so I've just set up an appointment here. Okay, basically what I can do is I've set up an appointment, and if I want to, I'll set the time of the meeting that I want, as I'm doing there. There we go. Okay, and as you can see at the top, there is a thing called scheduling assistant. Okay, which it's going to go to in a second. There we go. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, okay, I just wanted to just show you this. So as you can see, this is I want Stanley Duck to be in this meeting, and I want myself to be in this meeting. Okay, so as you can see today, this is my calendar. It's not very free. Okay, and I can see that Stanley is free. So what I need to do is I need to find a time when we are both free. Okay, so as I can see, it looks like we're both free at 4 o'clock actually later on today. Okay, but if you just basically go to the parts that you are free, like tomorrow, for example, we seem to be both free at 8:30. Okay, you can actually select that time and it'll change it on here. Okay, and then what will happen is that you can actually send that meeting to that person, knowing that on their Outlook calendar they are free. So this is where it's very important to make sure your Outlook calendar is correct. If you're doing lots of meetings. Okay, so if you know you're free on that day, just keep it free. Okay, because it means that if other people are using the schedule assistant to try and see if they can book an appointment with you, that means they can see that you're free on that particular time. Okay, so yes, the scheduling assistant is very useful, and you can put anybody in there from this organisation certainly, and you can see their calendar. Now you might not be able to see what's on their calendar; it might just say busy, but you can at least see their free gaps. Okay, right. So that's the scheduling assistant. Let's just move on. Okay. Okay, so responding to a request. Okay, this is basically if you are responding to a request, somebody sent you a meeting. Okay, so as you can see at the top, you've got things like you've got your accept, you've got tentative, and you've got decline. There we go. Just get that going. That's there we go. Accept, tentative. So you can so this is an important thing. Right, if you say send a response now, that person will get an email. If you say do not send a response, you can accept the invitation, but it just means they won't get an email. And that's really useful if you basically know that you're responding to like a really big email chain. Like if you've been sent a meeting request, like for example, for we got sent meeting request for all of these meetings you set up today. I actually said I'm going to stop this because I'm talking. I actually said, accept, but don't send response, because I know that obviously if I sent a response, Elaine will just get a million emails from me. Okay, she doesn't need to do that. Okay, you've also got this propose new time, which is very useful. If you can't do a meeting invite, if you can't do the time, just propose a new time, okay, that you can do. Okay, that's really useful. Really useful for me. I'm just like trying to think of all these things that have been quite useful to me over the past couple of years. So you can say propose new time, or you can say decline and propose new time. Okay, and you've also got these 3 little dots at the end when you get that meeting invite through. Okay, so if you use that, again, you've got the option to reply. You can reply. You can reply back, or you can reply all. You can actually, I tried this thing the other day. You can actually call somebody on Teams from there as well. That was quite an interesting situation. Okay, so you basically have got all these different options that you can actually do to respond to that meeting request. Okay, so if you do get a meeting request, you can't do it, obviously decline it, but try and do as much as you can to help the other person, either propose a new time, etc. Okay. Okay, I think that was everything. Haha, is that everything? Yes, that is everything. Right, okay. I've done quite well there, 5 minutes to spare. Okay, has anybody got any questions? If you do, please, put them in the chat or just come off mute. It's totally fine. If you are on the Microsoft Educator community, you can use this code and you will get some free points because you've attended some training with me and I'm a Microsoft trainer. Yeah, feel free to come off mute, or if you've got any questions, just pop it in the chat. I've got something in the chat there. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah. I'll just give it a couple of minutes and then I'll go into my next session. Thanks, Dawn. Just stop the recording.